anything collectible,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so it's kind of like that. Like you
It's how
can,
baseball cards are. It's how Pokemon cards are. It's how anything collectible is, right?
I don't see the value in Pokemon cards though.
But somebody does.
There are people that do.
I know it's
yeah.
crazy. Like you can get some like crazy.
Crazy money.
Like Logan Paul has like $1 million card or something.
I got lots of baseball cards, bro. Tons of them from years ago of collecting, but I have no idea what they're worth.
But you didn't buy them with the intention of like an investment.
No, I
It
bought them
was
when I was a
just
kid, bro,
you
when I
being-
collected them. Yeah. I just still have them.
Cool.
Cool. Well, I think we're rolling already, right? We've been rolling? Yes. All right, so then we're here with Tyler Oldroyd. Why don't you, Tyler? I know you got like a huge history, right? Because when I met you, you were the owner of Truck Works. You had one in Illinois.
Yep.
And then you opened one here in Arizona in Chandler.
Yep.
Do you have what's before that?
So similar scenario, man. I've always been an entrepreneur. I was a pipe fitter for 17 years. After that, kind of dabbled in the trucking industry for a while. We owned a trucking company. Unfortunately, it was just kind of one of those things that the timing was poor. It was about the time that diesel fuel went from 99 cents a gallon to $1.79 a gallon. The industry hadn't really implemented fuel surcharges and those kind of things. So we were eating fuel money for years. So got out of that business, got into the truck parts business really. Started e-commerce, 100% e-commerce, built an e-commerce store. We were doing a couple $1 million a year e-commerce. And my wife was a director for Verizon Wireless, so we ended up moving to Illinois, and I wasn't about to work outside in Illinois, so I wasn't going back to the construction world. It was a super underserved market when we got there. There was four-wheel parts and those kind of things like on the West Coast, but there was nothing in Illinois, nothing even to compete with that. So we decided to open up a brick and mortar shop. It did well, man. It did well for years. I think we had it open there for about 10 years. I wasn't about to stay in Illinois, so my wife transferred to California. Eventually, she retired from Verizon, and we kind of picked Arizona, man. And Arizona was also a good place to be in the automotive industry. So we decided to open up one here, man.
How is that like coming from Illinois, where you already have a stop established? You say you had it for 10 years?
We did, about 10 years.
Before you opened the one in Arizona. When you come into Arizona, a brand new state, like how do you go about opening a new location like that?
So it had only been,
is that like
at that
nerve-wracking?
point in time, so we came here in 2017, so it had only been open about 6 years.
Okay.
I ran that store from California for 3 years prior to that, so we had good employees and the shop pretty well ran itself. I mean, starting another location is essentially like starting a new business, man.
Right.
It's you go through the marketing process, you go through finding a place to rent or lease or buy, depending on what you're doing, and you essentially start a new business in a new location with a new set of clientele. And that's kind of what we did, man. We started the process over and opened up one here, and
What was your first steps in like the marketing? Like how? Because when I met you at I'm not gonna mention his name, but that dude's tire shop when you're getting your lift kit on it.
Yeah.
I met you there, and you guys hadn't opened your shop yet, right? It wasn't open yet.
I don't think so.
And then when you opened it, it almost seemed like you guys blew up like really fast.
So I think we had a significant advantage from being e-commerce for years and years and years because we did national marketing. So I think obviously that creates a little bit of brand recognition no matter where you go. We had sold plenty of parts to Arizona. So that certainly gave us a jump start from a marketing perspective. We were already doing local marketing, so we kind of had our niche figured out and who our target audience was. In Illinois, and that doesn't really change when you move to a different area. Your target audience essentially stays the same. You've just got to figure out what avenues in marketing you want to obviously participate in to kind of, tackle that clientele or where you're going to get your biggest reach. And that's kind of what we did, and obviously built on, some of the brand recognition that we had previously, word of mouth. We always did, quality work. We stood behind our work. So I think taking care of your customers, obviously, that's an essential part of growing any business. And I think we did a pretty good job at that. So
Yeah, 100%. Oscar, I don't know if you know this. I think I told you this before. I used to rent out of his shop in Chandler.
Yes, you did.
It's crazy because when I went to meet with him, I went to see if we could buy Amber's Jeep. Amber's your wife.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know how the conversation came about where you asked. I think I told you that I was looking for a place to rent, or that I needed to get out of doing the details out of my mother-in-law's driveway because her husband didn't like me there, I guess. But he was like, "Well, why don't you just rent here?"
Yeah.
And I was like,
"This is just like a conversation you were having," and he offered.
Right, he just offered it, and I was like,
we were kind of at a point, I think, with Truckworks where we were in the beginning stages of growth. So obviously we leased a space that we could grow into, but we did have space in the shop available.
They got busy really fast.
It got really jammed really fast once we did.
As soon as I moved in, it's like it almost felt like holy shit, like we need that space, bro.
Do you feel like both you guys benefited from sharing that space?
I think so for sure. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, it saved him some money from leasing something. He didn't have to make a commitment, and he could build his clientele without making that commitment on a long-term lease.
Yeah.
I had already done so, and obviously it took some of the burden off my shoulders of making, whatever my monthly nut was, and so I was getting a little bit of revenue. The space was getting used, and we were paying out a little bit less, and again, he didn't have to make that commitment. His rent was inexpensive to do what he
I guess
needed
more
to
like
do.
the question was, did you see any growth from him coming in?
I think we both did, yeah. So we definitely, kind of pass clients back and forth.
Pollinate.
And certainly, the recommendation process when somebody comes in and they're like, hey, I need a detailer or I need a ceramic coat.
Yeah,
You're in luck,
I definitely got.
here, so.
He fed me a lot, pretty much. Like it was one of those things, like, cause he had a huge clientele with like the people with like lifted trucks, and I was like, let me get my foot in the door with them, and he pretty much opened that door for me.
Yeah, he almost like vetted you, but because you're associated with certain people, and that helps you get in.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah. No, it's definitely about who you know, not what you know sometimes. So
and
relationships.
And it's crazy because I bring you up to like almost everybody that I meet, bro. Like it's crazy because I tell everybody, like, you need to, like, this guy Tyler, where I used to run out of his shop, he pretty much taught me everything that I know starting off business. Because remember, we used to we closed at 6, but we would stay super late just talking. Like we would just stay after hours just talking.
How long ago was this?
2018.
Yeah, probably.
2018,
Yeah, 18, 19.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gave you a bunch of books to read. Yeah.
I still have them too. They're in my closet. I did read a lot of books. Now, what did you, because you have to also be comfortable to open your space up for somebody, because they're essentially coming in, and that can change the way things flow, and you have to like somebody. What did you see in him that you offered that to him?
I think I'm a pretty good judge of character most of the time when I meet somebody. Not always, man. I've been burned plenty. Got burned recently. But, one of those things, I think you can tell, within, at a minimum, a few hours and sometimes even a few minutes, if somebody is trustworthy. And we, like I said, we had a lot of conversations regarding business, and he did some work for me. He did some photo shoots on my trucks and made some videos. So we did have a relationship prior. It wasn't like, hey, I have no idea who this guy is. You want to rent from me?
Yeah.
It didn't go down like that.
Like, I'm trying to get a little discount on my rent, so
now
it
didn't go down like that.
We already knew each other from, because I guess we skipped like a huge part, but I did one video for him. That's how I met him, when he got his trucks lifted and like did all the suspension work, wheels and stuff. I did one video for him, and I think I got your number that day that you went to pick it up, right?
Probably.
And that's like, you know me, like I'm always like I'm always looking for opportunities. So I'm like, he's got a badass truck. He's opening a shop. Like, you know, maybe I can work for him doing video stuff. So I got his number. And then from there, we did like a couple of videos here and there. And then, I don't know, we just kind of like grew that relationship slowly. I think once I came into the shop, it kind of just like, the relationship grew, obviously. I think we did bump heads a little bit. Yeah. But
I mean,
I don't know if it's
that's
bump
just being
heads.
human, though.
I don't think
Like,
it's bumping heads, but it was more like because I was like growing.
Yeah.
And it was...
And you have like, your own way of being, and I don't know how this relationship was, but I'm gonna assume that you're trying to learn, and he has knowledge, and you gotta have to find a way to understand what he's saying too.
Right. It is a learning curve because I mean he taught me a lot of things.
Yeah.
Even like the first day when I think it was like the first day that I went to talk to you about the Jeep, you were asking me how much are you charging. And then I was like, oh, $250. And you're like, what does that include? And I was like, oh, wet sand, a buff, this, and that. And you're like, you're going to go out of business. He's like, you need to raise your prices.
So automatically he's already giving you free knowledge.
Yeah, he was already schooling me, like, you know, trying to help me, you know, not being like a dick or anything, but he was really helping me out.
So what I think helped is that you were open to hear what he had to say.
I was open-minded.
And that's probably what he saw, is that you want to grow.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
like I said, we had some pretty good conversations prior. We were both pretty, I think, business minded. Obviously, he wanted to grow. He wanted to get into business. I'd been doing it for, at least at that point in time, 6-7 years in the automotive industry. So I understood the industry a little bit. And again, we had conversations regarding pricing and more importantly, value, I think, when it comes to pricing any product.
Yeah.
But certainly, as far as bumping heads, it was more, I think, like growing pains. We were growing exponentially. He was growing exponentially. So it gets to the point where all of that extra space wasn't extra anymore. It got to be limited.
I think we ended up
moving stuff around.
We started at like 1,000 square feet, and then I ended up telling you like a couple months in, I was like, "Can I rent more space?" And you're like, yeah, okay. Yeah. And then like I outgrew that fast because I think I had 2 employees at that time. Yeah. And we were just like, there was like, I had cars waiting outside, and they were like, have you seen that shop? He had a 10,000 square foot shop. Wow. And it looked small because of the amount of cars that were in there. Yeah. Like crazy amount of space. Like
he mentioned, so when I met him, I didn't know who he was. He walked into the barbershop. Yeah. We slowly started developing some friendship because he was coming in pretty frequently, and he had mentioned you. And from what I got was that you were a big part of his growth. From what I got, I didn't even know who you were. It's just somebody that he felt like mentioning, bringing up. I don't know how the conversation came up, but it was cool.
No, that's super cool, man. It's a huge compliment. Like,
I got like a huge amount of respect for this guy. Like, cool. I don't know. Like I said, I bring you up to everybody. Like any business person that I know, I brought it up to him. I was like, yeah, you gotta meet this guy. Like he's like, he knows everything.
Well, tons of respect in reverse, man. I think you got tons of hustle. What you're doing is super cool. Obviously, you've same as me, man. The automotive industry, and obviously for different reasons, we got out of that business. You got out of that business, and you've had the ability to obviously make that transition, get into something else, and make it a viable option for you. So
got to keep moving forward. I remember one thing that stuck out to me during COVID. We were struggling bad because everybody was like scared, getting laid off, no toilet paper. Yeah. Like detailing's a luxury, so nobody's getting details, right? So our sales tanked, and I was struggling. This is the time I hit you up. And I was like, do you want to buy my AR-15? I didn't tell you I was struggling, but when I came to meet you, I remember the conversation we had. I was like, well, what do you think about this COVID? And I remember what you said, like if it was yesterday, you said, I think COVID is going to like give an exit for people that don't want to like
get out of jail free card. Man.
Exactly. Like people that are going out anyways, that's their excuse. Yeah. And I took that to the heart because I was like ready to give it quits, and I was like, damn, like I can't be that guy that just like didn't pivot. And that's when we ended up opening up the body shop. But like if you didn't tell me that, I swear I was like ready to throw in the towel
and close down shop.
But he was like, exactly, close down the shop. But he was like, yeah, those are people. That's our your get out of jail free card and stuff.
And a lot of people did, man. Businesses closed everywhere. Tons of small business, man.
Yeah.
It affected small business huge. And I mean, in my side of the industry, we were busier than ever. As far as customers, additional clients, more work. It had a positive impact on our business. What we couldn't get was decent employees.
Yeah.
Everybody was hurting for people and employees, and it didn't matter what we were paying. It didn't matter what we did to recruit them. And then, obviously the state started mandating that we give everybody 14 days off every time somebody had a runny nose. So there was certainly negative impacts, but it wasn't from a business perspective of lack of work or lack of clients. We were busier than we had ever been.
Yeah.
But at least you guys had the opportunity to grow and continue to do business as usual. But there's some people that weren't allowed to work.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Well, because he owns a barbershop.
Yeah.
And during COVID, they were like, if you own a barbershop, you got shut down.
Yeah.
So were you cutting hair at home?
He's cleaning out my shop.
I didn't want to incriminate myself. Like,
They're not gonna do nothing now.
I don't think the COVID police are coming, bro. You're good.
But he was at first. It's funny because when I hit him up for a haircut, he was like kind of like a little discreet, like sneak in through the back, park away like down the neighborhood, and then sneak in through the back. And we were. It's funny because
I had a paragraph.
We were just bullshitting while we're talking. Like imagine like the police just raid us and stuff.
Yeah.
But he was like super scared about it.
Well, the reason why is because the barbershop, and then behind the barbershop there's a community. So like you're walking to the back, and anybody of those houses can see you. I wasn't scared to cut hair. I was scared of somebody seeing me.
Right.
Because he said that you can lose your license.
Oh, I would imagine.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And then there was like the fines, and it didn't stop me. I had so many people didn't want me to stop cutting hair that I'm gonna just do it. And the cops came coincidentally in between clients, and I canceled on somebody after. I was like, hey, I'm gonna be done.
They came to your shop?
One in the front, one in the back. Yeah, I would happen to be in the back
what?
room. Did I tell you about that?
I mean, you might have mentioned it. I don't remember that.
And then he wanted me to cut his hair the next day because he wants to come in every week.
Right.
And I was like,
You
nah,
gotta
dude.
look fresh,
I was like, I can't cut your hair, dude. I was like, I gotta just stop. Oh, and then the next week, I'm not gonna just do it at home till I figure something out. But I gotta be more selective now on who's gonna come to my house. He's like, why don't you just come to the detail shop? I'm like, I don't know. I don't wanna like get you in trouble. And
So what happened with the cops? Nothing? Did you talk to them?
no, they didn't see me. I was in the back room.
So you don't even know that's why they were there? They were just there?
No, they came to the front. They came to the back. Like as I was leaving, I would
Right.
go to the front to see if the close is clear. And as I saw a cop come into the parking lot, parked right in front of the shop, and then one all the way in the back door. And I just turned off the lights and
he
waited.
hid in the closet.
Right.
Well, I knew other
With the
people
door
got
open.
stopped.
So
Imagine
you're
they're
peeking.
knocking. Yo, I just want a haircut.
The first time they'll just probably just give you a warning. I didn't want to get rid of my get out of jail free card in the first try, so I was just trying to prolong that.
I got you.
Yeah, he started cutting hair.
But I didn't know that he was, like struggling at that moment because
I think a lot of businesses.
I'm good at keeping things on the low. Nobody knew.
he cleaned up the closet, a little closet he had for me, and I was just using that space.
Nice.
For like maybe 2 weeks. I think it was like 2 weeks, something like that.
See, there you go. I
Yeah,
leave
so
space
I'm grateful
to him,
for
he
him.
leaves space to you.
Yeah.
Hey, that was good for me because he was bringing people to my shop that didn't even know
Dude.
about me.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
was
for
like,
sure.
Yeah,
It worked the
that was
same way
perfect.
for you and I. Like I said, people that may or may not have known we existed previously. They came for whatever reason, and
Yeah.
even if they didn't if we didn't have a service they could use, they knew somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One person tells
Yeah.
their neighbor, or somebody in passing asks them a question. Hey, do you know somebody who does this?
Yeah.
I do, actually. I just got my car detailed there the other day. So yeah, call them.
100%.
And some people still bring you up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Like, what do they say?
Like if you're still there, they want to go there.
Oh damn. Tell them I'll come to them.
I told them that.
Are you totally out of the body shop business?
About auto body shop, yeah. That was stressful. That was very stressful. The detail business, that's kind of easy, very profitable. The auto body shop, oh man, like there's expenses and everything. It's kind of hard to manage that because you got like sandpaper, you got all types of different little stuff. It's really hard.
Yeah, try doing full repair. Like, you can imagine how many part numbers are on each
Dude,
vehicle.
I was getting. I felt like I was getting old. Like, I mean,
Thousands and thousands.
I'm 26, but I feel like I probably look 46, feel 56. You know what I'm saying?
No, man.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Perspective. You're saying that about yourself. Nobody else said that.
That's what I'm saying. I feel.
No, don't put that. Don't put that, dude, in your head. Don't
All
say
right,
that.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
Self-talk, dude. You can't do that.
Do you believe in that? Like,
What's that?
What you say out loud is like you pretty much like call it.
Well, it's
How you say it?
It doesn't even have to be out loud. Yeah, for sure.
Like, just
I think
like, think
you're
positivity.
mental. Yeah.
Yeah. You believe in that? Like,
Yeah,
like,
what you portray mentally or even say out loud. Yeah, will it come to fruition? I think so. Or at least
is that one of your
at
secrets?
least you start yourself down that path with your mindset. If your mindset is a positive one, you're more likely to take that path than you are the other way around. I don't think it's magic. I don't think you can, think you're gonna.
It
make $1
doesn't feel like
million
magic
tomorrow,
to you
and that's
sometimes
what's gonna
because like
happen.
my mom
No, it's
and
not
my
magic.
wife are always like, damn, that's crazy because you literally do everything that you say your mind to. Everything you say, you do it.
That's because it affects your decision making process.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you say I'm going to do it, when you're making a decision throughout the day, you're making decisions that are helping you get to whatever that is, whatever goal you set, whatever you told somebody where you were going to do. That's what you're doing. And if you were making decisions with a negative mindset, you would be going in the opposite direction, right? So absolutely, I think, and that's where it comes into play. Like I said, I don't think it's magic. I don't think you can, think you're going to make $1 million tomorrow, and that's what happens. But if you set goals, short term, long term, and your decision making process throughout the day or week or month is affected by that process, then yeah, eventually you'll get there, whichever one it is.
Yeah.
For
Plus, it doesn't matter how successful you are, man. If you're not happy with yourself, and all that comes from how you talk about yourself, it does not. None of that's gonna matter.
Yeah.
And then you could get yourself sick if you're always thinking negatively, and then did it all from
Well,
there.
that's what I've always said. Like, you have to
be
like
happy.
think positive in everything. Like you think positive things will happen.
Yeah.
You think negative things. You attract what you think and say. You know what I mean? If you say I can't do it, well, you're probably right. But if you say you can do it, you're also probably
If you
right.
say you can't do it, you're definitely right. You already set yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
Right.
If you tell yourself you can, you at least stand a fighting chance, and you're
Yeah.
going to try. With
Yeah. Even if
everything
it's
you have,
scary,
right?
you just gotta try it. You gotta fight.
Yeah.
So what do you do now?
So we actually developed a software for home services, man. So when we got out of the automotive industry, we kind of did some business stuff in between. Those are the ones that didn't work out. The ones that I wasn't a good judge of character. My wife is a part-time real estate agent, so she was always struggling with finding people to clean houses and do landscaping, and we had the same issues here. There's obviously there's things on the market. There's Angie's List. There's Thumbtack.
Task Rabbit.
Yeah, they're garbage, honestly, from the perspective of the consumer and the perspective of the small business. Paying for leads is not a viable option for any small business, especially when that is probably their profit margin. These companies, they're not. They're not making $100,000 a year, let alone millions. So they don't have marketing budgets. They don't have CRMs. They don't have all of these tools, and paying for leads with a 15-20% close rate at $90 for 3 or 4 leads. It's not a viable option for them. And that's what the majority of the products on the market do. So we developed something that was a good option for the small business to help small business, help young entrepreneurs that want to get into those businesses, because there's like any business right now, there's a super lack of manpower. There's not a lot of people that want to do those things for a living, and part of the reason is because they beat the price up, they beat everything up, right? Like that's the marketing tactic. If I'm on Facebook looking for work, it's how far can I drop my price? And most people will drop the price until they're out of business.
Yeah, the race to the bottom.
Race to the bottom.
Hey, that's crazy. You guys both say that.
Yeah.
So, and that's the case in most industries, you know what I mean? But generally, the one who wins the race to the bottom, ultimately, you know, they lose. They go out of business. They don't generate. And you know, in our scenario, we kind of built it so that routes were efficient, and again, pricing was what pricing is. It's not a negotiation.
And it's like consistent too. So that way, like you're able to like feel confident when you are like the guy looking for that person. You're like, this is reliable. They're gonna do a good job. They're gonna, if there is an issue, it gets fixed. It gets
So
solved.
for sure, we put our money
like,
where our mouth is. We have
yeah.
100% satisfaction guarantee. So along with the way that we kind of set up the revenue side as a rev share business model, similar to an Uber or a Lyft or you know, one of those services. You know, we back that service up 100%. We also double insure every single client, which is also a big deal here in Arizona. The majority of these small businesses can't even afford to buy liability insurance, which leaves the homeowner, you know, completely
naked.
And at fault. Where if something does happen, then it's going against their homeowner's insurance, and it's a bad scenario all the way around.
And quality.
So we identified pretty much at least all the ones we could think of, every problem in the industry, whether you're a small business or a consumer, and really focused on fixing those problems. You know, not necessarily building something specific. We wanted to fix the problems. So we geared the software around the issues you know that the industry has, and develop based on that. So
to me, what that sounds like too is that you're two parties are benefiting there, because somebody can have a great service but nobody knows that they exist, and then this person might not know anybody that does that kind of stuff.
Well, and we found a couple of things, right? Especially with small business. So small business in general, especially 1, 2, 3, 4 man businesses. They have a couple of things, right? So they're usually really, really, really good at whatever their task is, whatever their profession. You know, they're great house cleaners. They're great landscapers. They're, you know, great at pest control, whatever it is.
But they suck at business.
They're horrible at business. They have no idea how to run a business, and if they do, they don't have the tools to do it properly. So we you know, tried to. We built in a CRM. We built in a way for them to manage the financial side. We built all of the tools they need, including, you know, route efficiency and again, you know, pricing and customer communication. We built all of those tools in for them. So again, it's not an additional service they have to go pay for if they're using our platform. They get all of that, and it's 100% free. We charge them nothing.
So for like the people that are wondering, and let's say they do have a small business and they're hearing this right now. Yeah. What businesses are on that app that they can come and contact you? Like, how do they get hired? How does that start?
So the process is super simple as far as starting at the bottom of the homepage and on the app. It's just a partner with us link. Again, similar to the majority of the other services that do something similar. It's a super short questionnaire. It's basically contact information. We put them through an onboarding process, you know, background checks and insurance checks and those kind of things. Just to make sure that the client on the other side is protected. And again, we have, you know, good quality contractors that are working for us and partnering with us. And as far as the services we currently offer is house cleaning, landscape maintenance, pool service, pest control, window washing, and large tree trimming. And we're working on a bunch more. We're adding some handyman services and features. We're doing some air filter cleaning, some junk removal. So we're working on adding a ton of other services that'll be coming soon. So let's
say I wanted my driveway cleaned. Is that something that?
So we are doing. We will do some pressure washing things because of the way that the system's set up. Everything is priced sight unseen.
Okay. Yeah.
So The majority of those items will be done hourly, so you could come in and get a pressure washer for whatever the price is per hour. He shows up. If your driveway is what you want cleaned for that 2 or 3 hours that you hired the guy for, by all means have him do your driveway.
Okay.
You can have him do whatever you want him to do.
Cool.
So, yeah, we've tried to again, with a sight unseen mentality, and again, some standardized pricing so that there isn't a race to the bottom. And it's not a negotiation, and it's a competitive price to the customer. And a price to the vendor where they can still, be profitable and again, be efficient, manage their clients and their customers. We've tried to kind of, go through, some of the hourly options and those kind of things for the stuff that we can't possibly price sight unseen, right?
Yeah, it's tricky sometimes.
Yeah. It's impossible sometimes, for sure. Yeah, but part of the efficiency is you don't, as a vendor, have to come to your house and say, how much would it be to do my driveway? You can hire him for as long as you want, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. He's not making a trip to your house from Tempe and spending 2 hours of his day that eventually he now has to try and get that 2 hours out of your job that it's not taking him to do, because he didn't have to make that trip and he didn't have to, stand in your front yard for 15 minutes to tell you it was going to be, $250 to do your driveway. So.
And that's what I like about the app, because I had an experience a couple weeks ago. He doesn't service my side of town in Maricopa yet, but I had to look for a landscaper because the HOA is like, hey, you need to cut these, cut these weeds out and whatever. And I'm always working, so I never do it. So I called somebody. This is Friday. I was like, hey, can you come pull these weeds out? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, how much is it gonna be? He's like, well, I gotta go and see. And he's like, I was like, when can you come out? I can't come out till Monday. So now I have to wait the whole weekend just to get a quote. And with your app, there is none of that. That cuts all the bullshit out, right?
Yep, nothing. So you would obviously build the service, based on your lot size. Somebody would show up on whatever day you scheduled them for. You always get the highest ranked vendor, which is all done internally. When your service is complete, you have the ability to go in, rate, rank, and leave a review for your customer, just like you would on Google, just like you would on Yelp. When you order a service, you always get the highest ranked service provider in your area with availability, no questions asked.
Yeah.
So, and again, that's coming from your peers, other people who have used them. It's not a ranking we give them. We don't give them a ranking.
Yeah, just like Uber.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
it's kind of like Uber Eats, You just get on your phone, you get what you want, you pick what you want, and then boom, you can see it coming to your house, right?
So yes, on the app
cool.
you have geolocation. On the app you can see that once your service provider says they're on their way, you get access to geolocation. You see them driving. If you're not home, you know how long they spent at your house.
I was about to bring that up. That's awesome.
And then once they're complete, obviously you lose that geo tracking to that client, but they're done
Job's
with your
done.
service. If there's anything additional, if they show up and it's hey Christian, there is some additional work here that you didn't build into your service up front. They can build that in on the back end and say, okay, hey, it's $50 to do this additional work. Okay, yes, you approve that. They build it into the booking while they're there.
Payments through the app too. All that.
So all the payments are automated after the service is done. No payments up front. It costs you nothing to book the service.
Yeah.
When they're done and you're happy with the service, then the payment is automated. And like I said, if something needs to happen between, I built my service and I missed something, and the guy, my service provider says, hey, I need, another $50 to do this, or while he's there, you say, hey, I got this. Can you haul that off too, or can you trim that tree?
Yeah.
They can, absolutely. So they can do any of those things, and again, they can add it to the same booking while they're there. Get it done. Obviously, you approve that through the app, and they finish their job and go on about their way. So you don't have to wait for somebody to show up and give you some kind of an estimate that probably isn't accurate anyway. And that's what happens most of the time. They come out and tell you, it's $150, and then when they're done,
No,
they're like,
especially
it was
because
harder than I thought.
I'm super
so now it's
busy.
$200.
Yeah.
I'm a super busy person, and I'm like, when I want something done, I want it done like like this, you know. I don't have time to wait till Monday
Yeah.
just to get a quote.
And that's society in general, right? That's
don't-
why everything has become automated. That's why Uber Eats is automated. That's
Yeah.
why, car services in general are automated, is because it's a now society. Everybody wants instant gratification. If I decide I want my yard done today, I probably want it done today, or at least in the
And
next
with
day or
your
so.
app, that's possible. Do you
that's
have to
possible.
be there while the service is being done?
You don't. So you create a profile within the system when you sign up. You can leave gate codes. You can leave instructions. You can leave notes for a booking. You can tell them how tall you want your grass cut. You can tell them, I want unscented cleaning products. You can tell them anything you want. Give them a gate code, a door code, however, and as long as you're comfortable with not being there, they're absolutely comfortable with doing it without you there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and some people might not live in the country and they have a home there. Like right here, like some people can live in Canada and they got a house here and
Sure.
they can feel, because sometimes you need to ask somebody that's trusted.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, and a lot of people too, especially with geolocation and those kind of things. Like if I have a house here and I live in Canada, or I live in, a lot of people from Chicago have second homes in Arizona, obviously because of our climate. So same thing. And what usually happens if they just hire somebody and they're sending checks through the mail, they're generally getting taken
or they'll leave the
advantage
check
of.
underneath the mat right there, pick it up. And
Well, so we eliminate that as part of the process, and then those people who aren't there to see their service being done, they know they're not being taken advantage of. The service is actually getting completed every week. They can see the guy drive to their house. They can see that he spent
X
20
amount of
minutes there servicing their pool, and he left. So he has complete control of all of that.
Yeah.
They get notes and pictures of each service uploaded into their portal.
Oh, that's awesome.
So when it's done, they can see,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that looks good. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I like that. I'm happy with it.
And that protects both parties right there.
For sure.
Too,
Yep.
so.
And it's cool because it started off with, because his wife is a real estate agent, part-time, right?
Yep.
The real estate agents that take advantage of this, because you know how when they buy a home, right? One of their clients buys a home,
Yes.
they're able to offer them a service already, like here we have everyone to take care of your house,
Yeah.
and then they get like a referral.
So we have referrals actually for everybody, but specifically for real estate clients. If they refer, so you bought a house from a real estate agent and they refer Home and One to you, they send you an invite via email, just like they send their MLS listings. As soon as you sign up for a service, they get a referral fee, $10, and it's unlimited. They can get 1,000 of those, and they sell lots of homes throughout the year. So
Yeah, or sometimes you buy a home and it looks its best when you bought it, and you don't know how to keep that looking
Not,
like
not
that.
only that, but like a
So
real
now-
estate agent can offer the home service to their clients
Yeah.
for like the first month for free.
So
They look good.
as they build referral credits, sometimes hundreds, sometimes
Yeah,
thousands
that's
of
actually a
dollars.
good idea.
Yeah, they
That's
look
great.
good. They look good because they're like, oh, my
Yeah.
agent's taking care of me, but in reality, it's Home and One.
Yeah, you got $1,000 sitting in there in
Yeah.
referral fees. It's transferable, so I can give you $500 in
Yeah.
rewards
Service,
points.
yeah.
Yeah, rewards points. You can spend it however you want. So I could tell you, hey, I appreciate you, using me to buy your house.
Yeah.
Let me transfer you, $500 in rewards.
Appreciation.
Now I
Yeah,
know,
get
I
your
know,
house
I know
done,
a
get
lot
your
of,
landscaping
I know a
done,
lot of
whatever.
real
Yeah.
estate agents, right? So for them that are watching, where do you service? Like, where can if they're in Queen Creek or if they're in Gilbert, Chandler, Phoenix, like if they're a real estate agent and wanted to use your service, what cities are you?
So we now service all of Phoenix.
All of Phoenix.
All of Phoenix. And then we just opened up Las Vegas. So we're actually servicing Las Vegas. We're in the process of onboarding some additional vendors in Las Vegas. We do have some limited zip codes there. The majority of them are in Summerlin, but we will be all of Las Vegas certainly in the next few months. And we'll definitely be expanding from there for sure. But right now, all of Phoenix, including Maricopa now, so you don't have to
Oh,
fetch
really?
your landscaper. Yep. And then
Let's go.
we like I said, limited zip codes in Las Vegas, but we'll be.
Yeah.
So
expanded throughout
everywhere like
soon.
Phoenix surrounding, like Mesa, Gilbert, Chandler,
Yep.
Fountain Hills,
Yep. Goodyear.
Scottsdale.
Yep. Cave Creek.
Queen Creek, Santan Valley,
Paradise Valley.
Coolidge,
Paradise Valley.
Florence.
Cool. I don't got a house in Paradise Valley. I just like Paradise Valley.
Florence, yes.
Dang, that's what's up. Yeah, so I mean, anyone that's watching, if you need a home service, and you have clients that need, their house is clean, you can hit up. It's home in one, right? It's what it's.
Correct. Yep. So home in one, and as soon as it's live on the App Store, which should be any day, again, you can just go to the App Store and download it. So
On both
super simple.
Apple and Android.
Apple, Android, and then it's web-based as well.
It's
So,
on on the Nokia brick too.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, BlackBerry.
Psychic.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there like a reoccurring like section on there? Like if I want a landscaper every
You can order it weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, one
Oh.
time, however you want to service it,
Okay.
however you want to schedule the service. Yes.
Is there a fee if I want to cancel? Like if I'm
Nope.
already
No contract ever.
reoccurring?
No contract ever. Nope.
Yeah.
If you get your service done and you're like, nah, I think I'll do it myself.
Okay.
You can skip a booking, so you can skip a week.
Yeah.
You can skip 2 weeks. You can skip 3 weeks. As soon as you want them to come back, they come back. Or if you want to cancel, and no fee.
Oh, that's
Nothing.
safe. Risk free.
Risk free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comfortable. You feel comfortable, especially if you're a little iffy. I don't know. You don't want to get in. Just try it one time. You got nothing to lose.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
that's part of business as well. Obviously,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. We don't want people to
Yeah.
to have to utilize the service that don't want to utilize it.
Yeah.
We want to be
But
there.
if you
for-
give somebody a good experience and make it easy for
For
them,
sure.
they'll
for sure.
do it.
I like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should take a little break now. Let the
Okay.
cameras charge and whatnot,
Okay.
and
Cool.
then
How long's the break?
we'll be back. Well, for them, we'll be back in after this promo.
Home in One has been such an amazing solution for my clients. As a real estate agent, I am met with different clients of different nature, first-time home buyers, clients coming in from out of town, clients moving to different cities. And with that comes home maintenance needs. I love that Home in One simplified it in one easy app where you can click on the actual maintenance item that you need. Home cleaning, yard maintenance, handyman, pest control, pool service, I mean, you name it.
Home in One has been my secret, and now it's going to get out to everyone. It's always good as a realtor have in your back pocket, I got a guy. Well, I have an entire company that has all the guys in their back pockets. So it's like a one-stop shop, and I use it for my clients. I become a hero, and now you are going to be a hero as well.
One of my biggest struggles before finding Home in One was vendors never showing up, vendors being late, lack of communication. Home in One changed all of that.
Protection, peace of mind. Okay, Home in One, they give you both. Because when you refer a client or they're working for a client of mine or even in my own yard, I know that Home in One has already done all the homework. They're insured. Not only are the people that are on my property working insured, but also Home in One insures them. Your home, our responsibility. It's a fantastic tagline, but you know what? When I tell my wife, honey do, honey done, Home in One. That's where I'm from, okay? I want my life back. I want it to be easy and simple. And those guys do it for you. I'm telling you what, dial in, get it done.
What
You
is
can
that?
keep it.
Appreciate that.
The laws of leadership.
Yeah.
21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, bro. Like the best basic business fundamentals, leadership fundamentals book I've ever read in my life.
He wants to make an appearance.
I refer back to that one all of the time.
Yeah.
This one.
You have to.
Oh, no,
see
this
it.
one.
Yeah.
This one right here.
But yeah, super good.
Oh shit.
I think we're rolling now.
Yeah.
Bugs, get down. Come on.
It's okay.
He's trying to get that free clout. This is Bugs, everybody. Oh, Pugs?
Bugs.
Oh, my bad, bro. He's like, yo, get my name right.
Come on. Hey, come on.
Nah, he's chilling. He's chilling.
For sure, if it wasn't for those like self-development books, I feel like I wouldn't be where I'm at. Just because
For sure.
you have to be self-aware of, and want to improve and grow.
And it's a nice shortcut, man. Somebody's
Oh,
always
yeah.
been there, done
Yeah.
that, and there may not be an answer that always works for you, but you
Yeah.
can definitely learn from somebody else's decision-making
yeah.
process, or ultimately, how they came to the conclusion or the steps that they take
Yeah.
in order to come to that conclusion to try and make, the right decisions for sure. So
I think one of the books that I read, like starting off, like one of like the very first entry level books that I read was The Rich Dad Poor Dad.
it's a good book too. Super good
Yeah,
book.
that was one of the first books I read that I actually read, and then listened to the audiobook, and I was like it opened my mind, like, whoa. Like I had like already a understanding, this kind of just like cleared it up for me of what it
He's
was.
big too on the
Robert?
like the mentality and the thought process
Yeah.
and putting positive thoughts out there, and obviously those are coming back to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of those things too. I think probably came from some of that material. But dude, I mean, I read at least an hour a day, and I learn something every book I read.
Should put that mic closer to you.
So you go to the gym, exercise your body, and then you
And then exercise my mind.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right,
yeah, it's full circle.
for sure. And I think sometimes you have to be full circle, man.
Yeah. And then you're eating right, just because you're going to the gym and you want to stay healthy.
Yeah.
I think that's very
Is that
important.
close enough? Can you hear?
Yeah, get it, just get it close, bro.
A fist?
Don't be
Oh,
scared.
no,
I got you.
Don't be
I wanna
scared.
I don't want to make eye contact with you when you do that, man.
This guy. Because how old are you, Tyler?
I am 45.
You're 45, and you're probably in better shape than anybody in this room right now.
So I told my wife about a year ago that I will be in the best shape of my life when I turn 50. So that's the goal.
I mean, you're fucking jacked.
So I had a huge head start on that, right? Like I worked out for years and years and years. I played football till I was 34. I kind of quit for about 5 years, man. I think business and stress. I got to the point where that's not something I was making time for.
Yeah.
I think saying you don't have time for it is a bullshit cop out. You have whatever time you want to make for whatever you want to do. So I think from a positive perspective, and again, mentally after, kind of going through what I went through or what I felt like I went through from a business perspective, that was kind of the deal, man. I told her, I said, I'm going to be in the best shape of my life when I turn 50. I had just turned 45, be 46 here, in March. So I went back to the gym, started eating right, started reading again.
Yeah.
And certainly, positive impact all the way around, man. It definitely makes a difference.
So how do you know that? Because there's a lot of people saying, eat this, don't eat that. Like, how did you know that, this is the right way?
So I
that's a big
didn't know anything, man. Same as I do in business, same as I do with the books. I did research.
How do you separate the differences, though, and you know that it's quality?
So I think like anything else, right? And again, you might read a book and somebody has a unique perspective on something. But I think as a good rule of thumb, what people have done since, the beginning of bodybuilding or whatever it is, even business, those rules still really apply. You get into some of these crazy crash course diets and some of that stuff. And of course it works temporarily.
Yeah.
But it works for the same fundamental reason that what people have been doing for the last 50 years has always worked, right?
Yeah.
It works because, they're losing weight because they're in a caloric deficit, of course. So if you stop eating or you don't eat, very little, are you going to lose weight? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Is that sustainable? Can you survive like that, forever? No, absolutely you can't. And you're not creating positive habits. You don't go back to those habits when you're done, because you're not creating a habit that's sustainable. So as far as, the way that I kind of attacked it is I tried to find, things that I like, first of all. Eating shit that you hate every day gets pretty old, no matter what you're trying to do. So I found a few things that I liked. I actually enjoy eating it, and I tried to build a diet around those. And I think science, no matter what, doesn't matter what the diet is. It matters what the macro count is. How many macronutrients you need and how many you're putting into your body. It's at the end of the day is what's going to make the difference. All the other stuff is just bullshit in between.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So are you a motivated person, or like how do you get up in the morning? Is it because I know my answer?
So I'm not a morning person, but I'm a motivated person, right?
Are you motivated or disciplined?
All of the above.
Okay.
And I think besides that, I have what I would say is an addictive personality for sure. So it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm either going to do it 110% or I'm not going to waste my fucking time, right? So Like I said, I'm not a morning person. I don't like to get up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m.
Yeah.
You know, we get up at 7 o'clock, take the kids to school. But I do have my routine, and certainly I've created habits. At the end of the day, again, like I said, I have this, and it doesn't matter what it is, good for me or bad for me, that I have this addictive personality that if I'm going to start something, I'm going to follow through and I'm going to finish, whether it's go to the gym or whether it's you know, my business or whether it's my diet.
Yeah.
I don't cheat because, you know, if I spend weeks and weeks and weeks and months like going through it and suffering for all of that time, why am I going to fuck it up for one afternoon
For
of cheesecake?
nothing.
Like, just not, you know, it's one of those things,
Yeah.
risk versus reward.
Yeah.
At some point in time, the reward's not there, right? So
Yeah.
you kind of stick with it, and you've worked hard enough. And again, you know, you went to the gym,
Yeah.
you know, 5 days a week for 6 months. Like, you're just not going to quit because the results were positive. You saw them.
Yeah.
And you know, if you don't, then the result obviously is negative. So you have a lot of personal reasons to continue
Yeah.
doing what you're doing.
So you don't eat cheesecake?
I don't eat cheesecake.
You
bro.
don't eat cheesecake?
Oh,
That's
shit,
crazy.
I love cheesecake.
No, not,
I
not
love
for a while,
cheesecake.
bro. I love cheesecake too. I love bread and I love pasta too, and I don't eat either one of those. So
Not
100%
even, not
no
even
pasta.
once.
no pasta, no bread.
Man, I love spaghetti too.
That's where the discipline comes in.
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy because
I eat carbs.
discipline
I just don't eat bread and
is
pasta.
I think discipline is the hardest part of anything, right? Because you need discipline. Once people can understand what discipline is and how to like how do you say, like really like dig deep and like unleash their discipline,
For sure.
because people don't know, like they don't know that that's really important, right? Because some people, they'll hit their alarm, the alarm goes up at 5 a.m. and then they'll just like 5 more minutes and snooze it.
Yeah.
But if you can control your brain to say get up, like that is the discipline right there.
And if you control your brain long enough, and I'm not a good example to not hit my snooze because I do, because again, I hate to get out of bed, but I don't go to bed until late, right? I work or I read or I do whatever till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. But when you control your brain enough times when it comes to anything, whether it's your diet, your gym, your snooze, on your alarm, eventually your brain starts to control you and you don't need to anymore, right? You know, you don't have that desire even to eat a cheesecake or hit the snooze button because
Right. Like
it's
I don't have
just not
to.
what you do. It's
I
not
don't
your
have to
habit.
set my alarm anymore because
Your mind tells you like, you don't need to. Like, I'm ready to get up, right?
Yeah.
exactly.
I went to
I'll
bed
put
at the
my
right
alarm
time.
at like 6 a.m. and I'll be up at 5. I'm like,
Yeah, your body's ready to be awake.
yeah.
It knows. Again, your brain tells you like
That's-
this is how
that's
we're
going
going
back to the
do it.
routine, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, habits, routine, it all plays a part in eventually what you do every day. And like for me, getting out of my routine drives me crazy. Like my wife gets mad at me all the time because I don't like to go on vacation, but it's not because I don't like vacation. It's because I don't like being out of my
Yeah.
routine, right? Like I get up at the same time every morning. I eat the same thing for breakfast every day. I go to the gym at the same time.
Yep.
I come home at the same time. You know, it's what I
And
do
you're okay
every
with-
single day of my life. Yeah.
And you're okay with it. You're
I
happy.
like it. I prefer
Yeah.
it that way. Yeah.
You think it's important for people to have a routine?
It depends on the person, man. I think some people, you know, work well with a structured routine, and other people don't. I think people can function both ways. It just depends on the individual, but I do better with one for sure.
Yeah.
Keeps me out of trouble. Besides that, most of the time, too much free time and not enough things to do.
Plus,
So,
having that addictive personality, use it to your advantage since
For
you
sure.
understand
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
So
yeah,
you gotta know yourself so that way you can maximize the things that you do.
Yeah, 100%.
You gotta pay attention.
I wanted to ask you, for somebody that wanted to open up their business, because there's a lot of people that open their businesses, but are not prepared to sacrifice what they've been doing. So how, like, what do you is there a lot of sacrifices when it comes to opening a business? Like, I like maybe like once it's already set, like it's already up and running, but like starting off, like how important is that to sacrifice? Like, what kind of sacrifices did you make?
So I mean, it definitely takes sacrifice. It takes financial sacrifice. Most entrepreneurs don't pay themselves for an extended period of time. They put all of their money back in the business. They definitely do if it's going to be a successful business. If you take all of the money out of your business, then you take all of the growth potential out of your business, right? So I mean, as far as I'm concerned, tons and tons and tons of things that I gave up over the years, time with my family, time at home. I was traveling when I had shops in multiple locations. Obviously the stress, you know, you definitely have some sleepless nights worrying about, you know, a customer or a client that was or wasn't taken care of or has an issue. So yeah, I mean, I think there's personal sacrifice to being an entrepreneur and business in general. All the way around, every aspect of your life, you're going to sacrifice something.
Never stops.
Never stops.
Yeah.
No, and that's the other thing, right? You're employed, and when you're self-employed, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You know, the clock doesn't stop at 5.
Yeah.
If somebody needs something, and you know, most, especially and essentially small businesses that run their businesses the way they should, they're on the clock 24 hours a day. Yeah, they're figuring out how to take care of that next customer, and if not, how to take care of them.
That's the
you know, how to
difference.
acquire them, right?
Yeah,
I either got to take care of the ones I got, or I got to figure out how to get new ones, and that's a never-ending process.
So what kind of advice do you have for somebody that wants to start their own business?
Man, I don't even know.
Like
Sometimes don't. Depends on what day it is, right?
Well, like, what is the most important thing about a business? Like, what would be, like, to make it successful, to grow? Like, what would you say?
To make it successful and make it grow. Dude, I think you have to enjoy what you're doing, right? You got to get up every morning and at least enjoy what you're doing. You don't necessarily have to love cutting hair or you know, love whatever you're doing from that aspect. But if you're solving a problem for a lot of people, you know, you can certainly get the joy and the benefit out of the problem solving side of the business. Again, I'm not really what I would say a software guy. I don't code anything. I don't really know anything about it, but we're solving a lot of problems for a lot of small businesses and a lot of consumers. And for me, that's the part of the business that I enjoy, and what keeps me and my partner moving forward, for sure.
Why you? What would you say?
Man, I wasn't prepared to ask those questions. But so one thing that's helped me out is just I was able to relate to what he said. It was that addictive personality. And if I don't know something, I want to research as much as I can and try to pull out or decipher what is real, what's going to be beneficial. Because everybody can give you advice left and right. You don't know. Like, and if he wants to give me advice for nutrition, he looks like he's in shape and he's doing something right. I'm going to listen. I'm not going to be like blind to everything he says, but I'm going to be open-minded to everything. So I can't just listen to everything he said. I got to listen to everybody's, but I'm going to lean over more to this side. So that's something that's helped me out, was being very addicted to the thing that I do, and then making sure that I become good at it. At that.
Okay. That's good. I like that.
What's yours?
If I was going to give advice to somebody opening a business, I would say that you're going to need to make those sacrifices, and it's going to be hard because a lot of people don't want to give up their free time or their family time or whatever time they want to go do with their friends. I know a lot of people that are not willing to do that, and they want to open a business, but they're not willing to sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I think they need to understand that you're going to sacrifice your time, or you're not going to make it.
There's no benefit without the sacrifice.
Yeah, you need to sacrifice.
You
that
don't get
time.
one without the other.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So I think that would probably be my thing. Like, if you're gonna do it, like you say, do it 110%. Don't half-ass it. Like, do it. It's gonna suck in the beginning because you're not gonna be able to, you know, enjoy that with your family. Go here because you're
You're gonna miss out on a lot of
focusing
stuff.
on the business, right? But when it comes down to, you know, a year or 2 years later, when everyone's partying or was partying, like 2 years later, now they're struggling, and can do what you want to do.
Yeah, no, you got to be willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah, and
sometimes that's easy. Sometimes,
and I feel like a lot of people give up a little too fast. Once they see a struggle, they're like, it's not worth it.
Well, I think that's the same way with everything, right? Like, people will, you know, I'm going to get in shape for summer, so they go to the gym for 2 months, or they start a diet that ultimately is going to have them lose, you know, 30 pounds in 60 days. It's doable, but it's not sustainable, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to do that long term. So you're not creating a habit or something that you can stick with, and you have to be prepared to to make the sacrifices in order to get the long-term gains, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That kind of reminds me of like a quote that I've always went by. It goes, the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
The second best time to plant is now.
Right now.
So meaning like you start working out and you might not see any results tomorrow, but next thing you know, like boom, you can see the gains and you're in shape, and you're not gonna notice because it's just gonna be growing. You're gonna have that progress slowly, but then when you look back at it, you're like, look how far we came. Look how big this tree is.
For sure.
Do you go by any quotes or no?
Tons and tons of them. None that I would give you that I should say you should live by.
I'm interested now. What
Are
is
you?
it?
Again, man, like I said, obviously we got a bunch of books here. I
Yeah.
read a lot. So I see, I hear, and not that I live by a quote necessarily, but I think, again, anything I can take away from the majority of those offers that have been there, done that, then I try to do so. And I try and, make decisions, with that information. And it's definitely, helped me make better decisions for sure.
Yeah.
So.
And you? You have a quote?
I used to have quotes, man, and they've kind of just disappeared just because I just been focused on this one thing. So I just do my best to stay disciplined at this moment.
I got one too that I've heard a while back, and this is what kind of made me jump into everything. I don't know if you know that when I started my business, I tried detailing on the side, and I made like $700 for a weekend, and that was like what I would usually make for the entire week at the car wash, right? When I was working there.
Yep.
And then I was like, damn, like this is pretty good money. So I tried again the next weekend, and I made the same amount of money. And I called my he was the manager at the time, but he was also my friend. And I was like, bro, I think I'm gonna quit my job, because I thought in my head, I was like, what if I do this every single day? Like not just the weekend, but what if I do it every single day, And he's like, no, bro, don't quit. Like, I need you to come in tomorrow, because he was the manager at that wash. And I went there for half the day, and I was just thinking, like, man, this sucks.
It's because that seed got planted.
Right. And then, like, noon came around, and I was like, dude, I fucking quit. And I just walked off. But so what I was going to get to is that my thing was, like, if I don't do this, I'm going to go my life thinking, like, what if I would have done it? But if it doesn't work out, I could always come back to the car wash. Right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Like, what am I going to regret more?
Yeah.
And that's that quote is, what are you going to regret less? Right? And that would be like if I tried it and failed. But if I didn't try at all, then I'm going to go my whole life thinking, what would my life would have been like?
So that's what I look for quotes when I am struggling to make a decision. So that can help me make that jump.
Sure.
And I'm looking for that right there. And then once I do it, I like look for the next one. So I don't live by just one. So that's why I couldn't quote that. But I relate to that one right there.
Like, there's a lot of quotes, but definitely, it's crazy because when I quit my job, I didn't have no money. I was fucking broke, dude. I was no money. I had my son was just born, and so like I had a lot of pressure on my back. So it was like there is no plan B. There's success, and that's the only option. So that's
a good way to be.
That's literally what happened. So when people like I hear people say like, "Oh, don't quit your job to do your business until you're stable," but I'm like the opposite. I feel like you should just go in head first. Fuck it,
Well,
get in there.
you're gonna be at work and you're not gonna
be able to give
there.
110%, right?
And if you wait until the time is right, you're never doing it. The time's never right.
Yeah.
I've never started a business when the time was right. There's always something, right? A hurdle of some kind that it's, whether it's the market or it's COVID or whatever it is, right? The time's never right.
You're right.
Just fucking do it. It's the only way you're going to do it.
Yeah, just fucking
or don't.
do it.
Yeah. It's not for everybody either. So,
Yeah. Well,
for sure.
Hey, were you always that way? Or what happened? Did something happen in your life?
So I think
where you're
mentally, I was always that way. Yeah. So I and dude, tons and tons of businesses over the years, from construction to obviously now, software development. But no matter what job I ever had, I would start the job, and within weeks or months, I was the boss. I was leading the crew, and then I was the project manager.
Yeah.
And obviously, at some point in time, it was one of those things where clearly I was the most qualified person I was working with, and in the majority of jobs that I was working for some reason or another. And I think everybody kind of always has that mindset, no matter where they work, that I can do this better than these guys are doing it. But I really felt like in a lot of scenarios, whether it was on a construction site or managing a crew or somewhere that I was working, I really felt like I could do it better. So my wife's always been super supportive, and whatever I wanted to do or whatever I felt like I could do better, she's like, yeah, fuck it, let's try it, let's see what happens. So that's what we've done, man.
That's awesome, man. Do you have like a story? Is there like a background story to like you being who you are today? Because like for me, I'm in the position where I'm at today because I always had a chip on my shoulder. I had to prove people wrong. And it's not like people, but like it was more like my dad. I dropped out when I was in 11th grade, and I heard him say once, talking to my aunt, and she was kind of bragging to my dad like, "Oh, my son has a scholarship to go to college already, blah 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 blah." And my dad was like, "Oh yeah, Chris too." And I was like, behind the scenes, kind of eavesdropping. I was like, damn, my dad's not, like, he's making lies about me. He's not proud of me.
Right.
Like, he's embarrassed about my story,
he
right?
Know what to say, yeah.
And so, like, that was kind of the thing where I was like, damn, I never told him about this, but that was, like, the thing in the back of my head. Like, damn, like, I gotta make my dad proud. And so that was, like, I had to do something. Like, I was always, like, searching to do something. Is there something like that for you?
Not really, man. So again, like I think as far as who I am today is the entire ride, right?
Yeah.
Some were successful, some weren't, some were better than others. Like I said, I've always had a super amazing support system at home. But I think just me personally, man, I always, I'm uber competitive in everything that I do. I'm gonna win or I'm not gonna fucking play. So if I'm playing to win, and that's the way I've done everything that I've done, whether it was working for somebody else or working for myself. I attack it with the same mentality, and when I went to work, I was gonna be the fucking boss real soon, and in business, same thing. I try and push myself every day and make sure that we're doing the things, like I said, we're solving problems, that there's a reason to be in business, that when we talk to people about our businesses, whatever it is, that we're bringing that value that you're passionate about, right? Like I'm super passionate about my business. You're super passionate about your business.
Yeah.
And it's for a reason, because what you're doing is valuable to someone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the process, man. That's why I get out of bed. That's why I do it every day.
That's good, man. It's amazing. I think we'll probably end it here. Tyler, I appreciate your time, letting us come out to your house and set up. I know we took
Thank you.
we took a long time setting up, trying to get the right shot and stuff.
Anytime, we'll do it again.
How about this? Dad advice.
Dad advice.
Yeah.
Well, that's a tough one. You always question whether you're doing as good a job as you should be doing at raising your kids, right? So I have amazing kids, man. I have a great 19-year-old daughter. She's absolutely amazing. My 16-year-old daughter, same way, man. They're entrepreneurs as well, super successful in their businesses. My son's 11. I hope he's the same. So if the outcome is what we're measuring, the amount of success in being a parent, I would say we're doing a pretty good job, man. But that's always something that you wonder in the back of your mind, man. Did I make the right decision? Am I raising my kids the right way? So I don't have any advice for anybody. I would say do it however works for you. And if somebody was to tell me how to parent my kids, I'd tell them the same fucking thing, right? I'm going to do it my way. So, but it's been successful, man. And I think as long as, that's what you care about is ultimately their success, you'll be successful at it. So
I like that answer.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys.
Cool.
Let's do it. Thank you.
Well, Thanks for allowing me to be here, man.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Anytime.